kind of know.
Question right here in the front.
All right, my first question is for David. It's Jamal Finkley, Black Tree TV. You've done End of Watch, and you have like this rapport with the police community and everything else. What was the different tone that you took in this story as opposed to what you did with End of Watch and telling, you know, that story from behind the shield?
You know, this story is got a lot going on, obviously, and there's some reflections of things that are happening in our world today. You know, unfortunately, sometimes it feels like there's more divisions than ever, but maybe it's just something we got to go through to unite. At the end of the day, you know, the movie's really about someone who just wants to be themselves and wants to be recognized, and I don't think anybody has the right to define who you are. Everybody has the right to define ourselves. You know, that's our basic journey, and society should not define us.
We have a question right here.
This question is for Joel Edgerton. This is Mike Sandoval with Muse. What was it about the character and this story that made you want to take this? Because it's a very interesting character. Your character is very interesting.
I think there's something sort of more common about this character than any other character I've ever played in terms of the simplicity of just a person trying to fit in, because I think that's what we're all trying to do is from the moment we're born. And as adult people, we're hiding our insecurities, but we're still driven by that same engine. And there was such a beautiful simplicity to him as a character. And then as an actor, I just kind of was drawn into the challenge of what it would be like to do something completely new in terms of get rid of all the vanity of it being me and hide underneath this mask and see what challenges that threw up as an actor. And it did throw up a lot of challenges, and I learned a lot from it, and it was a great experience.
We have a question right here.
Yes, Jose Torres, Estrellas en Los Angeles. First off, congratulations. It's fire. I saw you guys got a lot of love down in the Comic-Con in Brazil.
Oh,
they had you singing Fresh Prince.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy down there.
So, seeing as y'all getting a lot of love on this project, David, I want to know, did you sign a multiple deal with Netflix? If so, can we expect a sequel soon? And if not Netflix, why the hell not?
Oh man, look, it's a big world and there's a lot to explore, and it can go anywhere, you know. But I think we're gonna let the fans decide after the movie opens if they want more.
Yeah, it'd be a little awkward to like get hyped about a sequel, and the fans like, nah, we good. Nah. That was enough. That was enough. Like, you know, you feel full with that word. Where could you go
Force
from there?
feed you.
Yeah.
Question right here.
Hi guys, hola.
Hola.
¿Cómo estás, Will?
Todo bien, ¿y tú?
Muy bien, muy bien. So I want to know if there's anything in particular that you guys learned from each other working in this movie, and then how this movie translates or assimilates to your life's experiences.
Well, as a beginner, I learned so much from everyone here. Every day on set, I was stunned and shocked, and from Noomi learning how to be passionate and fierce in your role and unapologetic about it, to Joel transforming completely in the mask and making it completely grounded and realistic and transforming his voice. I felt as though I was with Jakoby every day and didn't even know Joel Edgerton, and then the one day he takes off his mask, I was like, oh, that's who you are? Yeah. And then with Will, walking into a room and lifting everyone up and just connecting the whole team to this passionate, excited place where we're like, oh my God, we're making this amazing big film. And then David leading all of us and making it feel like we're a connected indie movie because we're so creatively free and open to explore the depths of our characters. And then Edgar, I didn't actually get to have any scenes with Edgar, but every time I saw him on set, I was just like, damn.
But she learned a lot about leaving your co-stars alone, staying away and letting them do their work. You know?
So yeah, I feel so lucky to have been able to learn all of this, and it's been a life-changing experience.
Did anyone else want to talk about what they learned from the movie? Noomi, Edgar?
Well, being an elf is amazing. No, I'm kidding. No, but for me to work with Will was, I've never worked with anyone so generous. We've been raving about you all day, but there was a day and we had a fight scene and I landed on you over and over and over, and I'm like, I'm crushing you, dude. And you're like, no, I can take it. And the way you work and the way you embrace everyone makes everyone feel included. For me, that was it. It will stay with me forever. It was beautiful to see and feel, to be a part of.
Yeah, it was great. You know, in that particular scene, there, you know, there was, Noomi's character, I'm holding her and she runs up a wall and we fall backwards through a table onto the floor. And, we come in and Noomi's like, let's go. And I was like, well, hold on, let's let the stunt people do it first. She was like, no, let's go. And I was like, Noomi, I'm not gonna pick you up and fall backwards through a table with you. And it was so funny. It was like, she's so hardcore and committed and nothing is more important than the work. And I just saw that moment in her eyes. And it was like, I was like, oh, I want to protect her. It was like.
And you did. And I kept landing on you. And he's big. And he just like protected me from getting injured over and over and over.
Yeah, no, that was rough. But that was beautiful though. Like, David creates a great environment. The way that he works with actors is, 6-8 weeks out from shooting, he has us all training together and
dig deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah. So he creates this sort of family environment that we feel like we're a group working together. Not individuals out for ourselves. He creates a great family environment where it's just we're coming to work to succeed together, to feed our families and all of that, and we don't get, it keeps you from getting lost in the Hollywood of it. He keeps it down into the people and the lives and the experiences that we're sharing between us, which is great to work like that.
We have a question right there.
Hi everyone, Ness for Latina.com. Will, I have a question for you. You have some interaction with Latinos in your movie, in the movie, and I assume in real life you do too. We are everywhere.
None that we're going to talk about here. My personal business. Thank you, Will.
But I will talk to you.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What's the question? We weren't listening.
What are some of the best things you like about Latino and Latinas culture?
Ooh, well, I spend a lot of time in South America, and I just love the fire. It's like he was just saying when I was down there in Brazil, when I just got hyped and started rapping for the crowd. Like just the energy is crazy, and I just love that fire. I love that flavor, and I think in a previous
you don't have very much energy, right? It's important that other Latino people give a bit of their energy to Will because he doesn't have enough.
Yeah, no, it just feels great. I just love that flavor. I think in a previous lifetime, I was definitely born in like Costa Rica or something like that.
Question right here.
How you doing, Will?
What's up, man?
So Hip Hop DS. You've done a lot of movies, this one included, that kind of touch on depression, that kind of touch on a little bit on racism and people being who they are, and you've lent your voice to those movements in video. But I think the one thing that's missing that we haven't heard you on wax. We haven't heard you rapping or like on the soundtracks.
I know.
On these movies at all. Is that something that you're aware of, or that you just are you thinking about that? Yeah. Are you gonna come back with any rap songs?
I've been sniffing around it. I mean, getting hyped about it. It's been a minute, and I've been full in the actor mind. So me and Jeff started going out a little bit. In the last 6 to 8 months, we've been doing something. So I just got to find that lane. Find that way back in. But it's a part of my heart. I love it. I make records all the time. I got a ton of stuff that I make at the house. I'm just not stuff that I just am hyped about to be able to feel comfortable letting it into the world.
But it's amazing. You're so. I was in Morocco sending you songs.
Yes,
and
exactly.
We're like just switching this music. We have this music communication.
Yeah.
And I'm sending him more and more like weird songs, and so you're like whole music universe and
yeah, Noomi, that's what she's doing. She's like, no, let's get it, let's get it. She's sending me, let's get it, let's go. She's always sending me, you know, some of these Moroccan rappers, these young Arabic rappers from London, and you know, it was just, she's just keeping it flowing. She's like, let's go, and just keeps the music. So I'm trying to find that inspiration, that thing that, you know, sparks me to get back.
Is it competitive between you and Jaden and Willow on the music side at home?
No, I'm way better than that. That's a joke. That's gonna be a headline. It's gonna be terrible. That was a joke. No, not competitive. When I see those kids, they actually inspire me. It's like I don't feel like Jada and I were teaching that, but Jaden, of all the people I've ever met in my life, I've met very few people that legitimately do not care what people think. Like Jaden all the way, and I'm looking in his eyes and I'm like, you have to care a little bit. But it is unadulterated freedom that I'm actually jealous of. Yeah. That he is so absolutely thoroughly comfortable being him in a way that I had 20 years ago. But what happens as you start to get successful and you get worked into a lane, your lane starts to feel comfortable. It gets a little scary to come out when, you know, you're not going to ring the bell necessarily that people want rung. And when I'm watching Jaden, and it's like I just love that freedom, and he's inspiring me in a really really unique and special way. As a parent, it makes me really proud.
Question back here.
Andre Grant from OK Player. This film plays in a moment, and the country in a moment right now that the film touches on in terms of race and class, and what feels like everything is crazy as soon as you pop open Twitter. It's like what happened today. And somehow, you know, it feels triumphant that you guys pull it out in the end. Do you think that the country is going to be able to pull it out in the end? And how do you feel that this film speaks to issues of gentrification that's happening in LA as well?
I mean, you know, the elves kind of represent the people that have everything, and they live behind a big wall. And, you know, some people say that walls themselves are a form of violence because they separate people from their dreams. I kind of agree with that. I think that we have to do better. A lot of it just has to do with the criminal justice system and the way the laws are written and the way criminal legislation is written. And laws need to be enforced fairly. There needs to be justice. I mean, the most basic human right is to live in a just world, and we can control that. We have to work harder. We have to figure it out. You know, we want our kids to live in a better world. People need to connect.
We have a question right here.
I'm gonna give a little. I want to respond. Part of what was exciting to me about this role is, as David was saying, the elves represent the haves, and the orcs represent the have-nots, and the humans are actually in the middle. So I'm an African American police officer, but I'm racist against orcs, right? So for that flip was really, you know, fun to play around with, and it's it's like a unique mindset that as an African American man, I'm not in that position often, you know. So to be able to look at it and, you know, sort of channel my inner Nick Nolte from 48 hours, you know, like, so that idea and sort of the transition that the characters made. But in terms of the world, it's science fiction. It's fun that you get to look at those things and you say those things, and you can go really far without it actually registering as preaching. In the scene, there's an orc being beaten by police outside, and my character turns to Jakoby and says, I need to know if you're an orc first or a cop first. Yeah. Right? Like, that's some deep shit, right? You know what I mean? And it's like, and it speaks to a really difficult issue for like, you know, a black police officer in a black neighborhood, you know, or a Latin police officer in a Latin neighborhood, you know, it speaks to a very difficult issue. So, you know, that the science fiction world is always fun to be able to mess around and speak to those things. In terms of where the world is, I actually have a little bit of a brighter perspective of where we are right now. Like, this is the purge, right? This is the cleanse. This is what happens. This is the natural reaction to the amount of light that came into the world when Barack Obama was the president, right? This is what happens. From the Taoist perspective, we had to expect that it was going to go the other way, but it's going the other way as a purge and as a cleanse. This is the darkness before the dawn. When that thing swings back to the other direction, humanity is going to evolve. Like, this is an evolutionary shift in humanity right now. And it's like with you know, we went from the industrial agricultural era into the industrial era into the digital age. And I feel very, very strongly that we are shifting into what the next age of humanity is going to be right now. And it's just the shit has to get stirred up, you know, in a way. But we're seeing it all. Like, the truth is right in front of us. Nobody's allowed to ignore what's true anymore. You don't even get to debate. You can you know, alternative facts. You can say that, but people are actually get to look at it for themselves, and you just hiding is over. You know, so that's going to be it's going to be really interesting to see how humanity reacts to it, and it's going to be a fucking mess, right? It's going to be a mess, but it's the mess in the cleanup. You know, it's the mess in and the purge before that new real light shows up.
We have time for 2 more quick questions. One right here.
Sorry.
Well, that's hard to follow. Well done, sir. Well done. I wanted to, sort of on this. I really love the idea of the gritty LA, you know, and then this fantastical world. So can you talk about building that world and sort of being in that world and like True Magic? You know, maybe True Magic will be our next stage.
Right, exactly. No, but like, absolutely. You know, it's like, you know, my gut feeling is that we're, what happened in the industrial era, everything was about thinking. Everything was about thinking. And we wanted to think our way to being in sync and being in command of this world. And we realized we couldn't think it. So we built machines that would think for us. And then, okay, now, so they're going to do the thinking. And then, you know, we're going to realize that that's actually not going to be enough. And into the age of intuition and spirituality, I really feel is going to be that next phase for humanity. But that was too much for Bright. So, you know, in terms of the creation of the world,
baby steps. Baby steps.
No, but it's what was fun about making the movie. I was able to stand on a platform which I know very well, which is, you know, the hardcore Los Angeles. LA is a city, LA is a character, the police of Los Angeles, the neighborhoods of Los Angeles, the places, you know, I lived and grew up in and came of age in. And then to add this layer of these sort of, I guess, fantasy elements, orcs, elves, fairies, magic, you lay that in, and then what does that world feel like to live in? And my job as a filmmaker was when I show a shot of an orc just walking down the street, that it feels perfectly natural. And it was funny how on set, how used to we all got of, like, you know, 7-foot orcs hanging out and elves, after a while it just blended into the reality of Los Angeles, just like this oil painting, like it had always been there.
Once you walk through an orc strip club, you'll never go to Magic City again.
but it was strange how quickly we all kind of merged into this world. Like, I was out running on Venice Beach in the morning. I was like running my Elvish prayer, and then I realized, like, you know, I was completely like in your world. world, in your creation, without really thinking
That
about
would
it.
totally fit in LA.
You
just said
doing my
Venice.
yoga,
You
drinking
think
my
you're the
Venice.
only person that was running an elvish prayer.
You could do a guitar solo on a piece of wood in Venice and people will still throw money at you.
We have time for like one more question. The mic right here.